Hello everyone, good morning friends. Again, this is Miss Matilda and we're going to be having our grammar class today. Today in our grammar class, our topic would be auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs. What is an auxiliary verb? An auxiliary verb, which is also called a helping verb, is the verb which helps the main verb in a sentence. Listen, the auxiliary verb helps the main verb in telling or showing the action of the subject. Do we still remember what the subject of a sentence is or the subject of a verb is? Now you have a sentence like, Fumi bought a car. Who bought? Fumi. Fumi is the one performing the action of buying. So Fumi is the subject. So we just said that an auxiliary verb helps the main verb by way of showing us what the subject has done, will be doing, or is doing. Now, with what I just said, it means that the auxiliary verb would also tell us the tense of the main verb. Our auxiliary verbs also help in making negative statements. Remember that your negative statement is that statement that has no, never, not, or nor in it. The auxiliary verb also helps us in making our question statements. Does your mother know about it? Will he be coming tomorrow? Yes, will, does. These are examples of auxiliary verbs. Again, the auxiliary verb helps us in changing our active sentences to passive sentences. So, it helps us in our passive voice, making statements using the passive voice. Alright, what are the types of auxiliary verbs? We have two types of auxiliary verbs. The first one is the primary auxiliary verbs. Can you take it with me? Primary auxiliary verbs. The second one is the modal auxiliary verbs. Now, the primary auxiliary verb. This is the kind of verb, auxiliary verb, that can stand alone. That means it can act as the main verb of a sentence. For instance, I have a dream. Joy does party cards. Does and have in those sentences are auxiliary verbs, but they are acting here as the main verb. Now let's look at the auxiliary verb more. The primary auxiliary verb comes in three forms. It has three examples. We have the verb to be, which has other forms as is, am, are, was, were, been, being, and be. The number two type of primary auxiliary verb is the verb to have. It has the forms has, have, and had. The third type is verb to do. It has the forms does, do, and did. Alright, remember that we had said that the primary auxiliary verb can act as the main verb of a sentence, so you can use in either of these auxiliary verbs to make the main verb, and it can hold the sentence. Let's look at examples. I'm sorry for what I have done. There's no other verb there. Or perhaps you can say sorry. He was elected by an anonymous vote. He was helping the other verb elected. What did he do? What happened to him? He was elected. So was is an auxiliary verb helping the main verb elected. Look at the word elected. It tells you it's in the past. The main verb, it can change its tense. Alright. He will not play volleyball. He will not play volleyball. Will is a helping verb helping the word play, which is a verb, the main verb. Not play here makes a negative statement. Alright, quickly, let's look at the modal auxiliary verb. The modal auxiliary verb cannot stand as the main verb. So it cannot act as the primary auxiliary verb. The modal auxiliary verb can simply show obligation, request, possibility, certainty, necessity, permission, and so on and so forth. Remember, you cannot use a modal auxiliary verb like might, could, as the main verb of a sentence. Look at these examples. Modal auxiliary verbs. We have can. There are 10 of them. Can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must, and ought to. You can use can or could to show ability. I can lift that. Possibility. Can go, could, may, might, would. It might rain. There is a possibility that it might rain. Permission. May I use your pen, please? Intention. I will come. I'll visit you. I promise. Intentionally. It's my intention to visit. So modal auxiliary verbs perform these functions. Alright. Let's look at these examples. They may go home. Remember, modal auxiliary verbs. They also make negative statements or possibilities. Look at, I thought they might have gone. Probably. 2. You must work hard. What do you think that is? You are obligated to work hard. It's a necessity that you work hard. And then the last one, you mustn't talk to your parents like that. Mustn't is a negative. So we have a negative statement there. Now friends, you're going to do this for me. Complete with the correct auxiliary verb in bracket. I've given you some. Dash, you jumped over the fence last week. Is it did you jump or do you jump? They dash prepared for the match. Is it they are prepared or they is prepared for the match? What does you saying? Is it what were you saying or what are you saying? Alright, what does you hear now? Is it what do you hear now or what does you hear now? I would not want to hear your response yet. I'll leave this to you as your homework. Do more if you can, and the Lord will bless you. Stay safe, friends. I'd love to meet you in class. Bye-bye.